Back off, nobody. This table's for real people, not street trash. Brad snatched Marcus's reservation paper and ripped it in half. The pieces fluttered to the floor. Jessica ground her stiletto heel into the fragments, twisting until the ink smeared across marble. "Oops, did I break your little fantasy?" She sneered into her phone camera. "Maybe try McDonald's next time." Marcus Washington watched the destruction. 45 years old, simple black sweater, worn jeans, nothing that screamed money. Around them, Meridian's Friday night crowd turned to stare. Crystal glasses paused mid-sip. Designer purses opened for phones. The couple sprawled across the corner VIP booth like conquering royalty. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Chicago's skyline behind them. Brad draped his arm possessively over the leather banquette. They owned this moment. He was just entertainment. Have you ever been judged so harshly that people assumed you didn't belong somewhere you actually owned? Marcus stepped forward, voice steady. "I have a confirmed reservation for this table. VIP table 7, 9 o'clock p.m. Brad snorted. "Dude, we asked the hostess. She said this spot was free." He gestured lazily at Emma, who appeared beside their booth like a protective shield. "I'm terribly sorry, sir," Emma said, not sounding sorry at all. "These guests were seated first. Our policy is very clear about—" "Your policy?" Marcus pulled out his phone, showing the reservation email. Time-stamped 2 weeks ago. Confirmation number VIP MW 0847. "This shows I booked table 7 specifically." Jessica held up her phone, live streaming to her followers. The viewer count climbed. 1,847. 2,103. 2,391. "Oh my God, you guys, this random guy is trying to steal our table at this fancy place. The drama is unreal." Comments flooded the screen. "Security! Security! Some people have zero class. Sir, this is a Wendy's energy." Brad leaned back, spreading his arms wider across the booth. "Look, buddy, possession is 9/10 of the law. We're comfortable here. You can wait for another table like everyone else." "There is no other VIP table," Marcus said quietly. "This is the one I reserved." Emma stepped closer, blocking Marcus's view of the booth. "Sir, I understand your frustration, but these guests have already ordered appetizers. Perhaps I could seat you at table 12? It has a lovely view of the kitchen." The insult landed perfectly. Table 12 was where they seated complaints and walk-ins. Jessica's followers caught every word. "Did she just offer him the reject table?" Jessica whispered loudly into her phone. "I'm literally dying. This is better than reality TV." Marcus checked his watch. 8:52 p.m. His reservation time had passed 3 minutes ago. Around the dining room, other guests abandoned their conversations. Phones emerged from Hermes bags and Armani jacket pockets. The Friday night crowd sensed blood in the water. A silver-haired woman at table 3 leaned toward her companion. "Some people simply don't understand their place." Her dining partner nodded knowingly. The staff should handle this before it becomes embarrassing. Marcus reached into his jacket pocket. His fingers brushed against cool metal, a black American Express Centurion card. The weight of it, substantial and familiar. Most people would never see one in person. Spending requirement, $350,000 annually, just to qualify. He left it hidden. Instead, he pulled out a leather portfolio. Soft cognac-colored calfskin, unmarked except for small gold initials. MW. Inside, documents waited. Contracts, acquisition papers, board resolutions. Brad noticed the portfolio and laughed. "What's that supposed to be, your lawsuit papers? Good luck using a place like this, pal." Jessica zoomed her camera in. "He's pulling out some random folder like it's going to change anything. Sir, this isn't Judge Judy." Her viewer count hit 3,847. The comments turned cruel. "Imagine being this delusional. Someone call security before this gets weird." Main character syndrome much? Emma gestured toward the restaurant's entrance. Sir, I think it would be best if you— I'd like to speak with the general manager, Marcus interrupted. I'll get him, Emma said, relief evident. Let David handle this mess. Brad high-fived Jessica. Finally, someone with authority to throw this guy out. Marcus's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Board meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m. Meridian acquisition complete. Congratulations, Mr. Washington. He silenced the phone. Jessica's stream exploded with engagement. Viewers shared the link across platforms. The hashtag #VIP table drama started trending in Chicago. Someone screen recorded the stream and posted it to TikTok with the caption, "Entitled man tries to steal couple's restaurant table." Within minutes, the video had 47,000 views. Emma returned with David Carter, the general manager. Mid-40s, sharp suit, the kind of practiced smile that could cut glass. He surveyed the scene, the couple filming from their booth, Marcus standing with his portfolio, and 30-plus diners watching like it was dinner theater. Good evening, David said, his tone already dismissive. I understand there's some confusion about seating arrangements. Marcus handed him the reservation confirmation. David glanced at it for exactly 2 seconds. Sir, our system shows this table was released due to our no-show policy. You were 3 minutes late. We operate on a very tight schedule during peak hours. 3 minutes, Marcus repeated. Industry standard is a 5-minute grace period, David continued smoothly. However, we make exceptions for special circumstances. These guests had a family emergency earlier and needed to be accommodated. Brad nodded solemnly, playing along. Yeah, my grandmother is in the hospital. Very serious. Jessica bit her lip to keep from laughing, still filming. Marcus looked at David. Really looked at him. The manager's confident posture, his expensive watch, a Rolex Submariner, probably $15,000, his custom-tailored suit, the way he positioned himself protectively in front of the couple's table. Mr. Carter, Marcus said slowly, are you certain you want to proceed with this approach? Something in Marcus's tone made David pause. A subtle shift. The question held weight beyond its words. But David had an audience. Paying customers to protect. A viral video to contain. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises. Security will escort you if necessary. Marcus pulled out his phone again. The lock screen showed 47 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from numbers with area codes spanning 3 time zones: Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. The notifications kept buzzing. Expecting someone important? Brad mocked. Your parole officer? Jessica's followers ate it up. Comments flooded faster than she could read them. Drag him. Security! Security! This is giving me second-hand embarrassment. Actually, Jessica said, addressing her camera, this is kind of sad. Like, imagine being this desperate to sit somewhere you clearly can't afford. She panned the phone toward Marcus. Sir, you know they can see your bank account before they let you order, right? The nearby tables erupted in barely concealed laughter. A woman in diamonds whispered to her husband, the audacity of some people. David's confidence solidified. The crowd was with him. This was Damage Control 101. Remove the problem before it affected the restaurant's reputation. I'm calling security now, he announced loudly enough for the room to hear. Marcus glanced at his watch again. Not a cheap knockoff, a Patek Philippe Nautilus in platinum. The kind that cost more than most people's cars. The kind that had a 2-year waiting list even for millionaires. Nobody noticed. Emma had already disappeared toward the security office. Brad ordered another round of drinks, settling deeper into the booth like a king claiming his throne. Jessica's viewer count hit 5,200 and climbing. The hashtag #VIP table scammer joined #VIP table drama trending across social platforms. But Marcus's phone kept buzzing. Text after text after text. Board meeting confirmed tomorrow 8 a.m. Meridian Chicago acquisition. MW Hospitality legal team standing by. Congratulations on the Meridian Restaurant Group purchase, Mr. Washington. Sir, the Chicago Mayor's office called about your restaurant opening event. He silenced each notification without reading them fully. The countdown clock in his mind ticked louder. 2 security guards emerged from the back corridor, big men in black suits, earpieces glinting under the crystal chandeliers. They moved with practiced efficiency, positioning themselves on either side of Marcus like human barriers. "Gentlemen," David announced loudly, "we have a guest who's refusing to comply with restaurant policy." The taller guard, name tag reading Rodriguez, stepped closer. "Sir, we're going to need you to come with us." Jessica's live stream exploded. Viewer count, 7,400 and climbing exponentially. Comments blurred past faster than human eyes could follow. "Security called. This is about to get real. Someone's getting arrested tonight. World star moment incoming." Brad leaned back in the booth, arms spread wide like he owned the entire restaurant. "Finally, some action. I was getting bored." "Don't hurt him too badly," Jessica called out, phone trained on Marcus. "I need good footage for my highlight reel." The dining room had transformed into an amphitheater. Every conversation stopped. Servers froze mid-pour. Kitchen staff pressed against the service window. Even the bartender abandoned his cocktail shaking to watch the show. A woman at table 4 pulled out her phone, adding to the recording devices. "Harold, are you getting this?" she whispered to her husband. "Already posted to Facebook," Harold replied, not lowering his camera. "My golf buddies won't believe this." The maitre d' emerged from the wine cellar, drawn by the commotion. 2 busboys abandoned their dish racks. A line cook peeked around the kitchen door. The entire restaurant staff had become unwilling extras in Jessica's viral production. Marcus looked at Rodriguez. "Officer, may I ask what policy I'm allegedly violating?" "Trespassing," David interjected smoothly. "Harassment of our guests, disruption of service." "Trespassing," Marcus repeated slowly. "In a restaurant, where I have a confirmed reservation." The second guard, younger and more aggressive, shifted his weight forward. His name tag read, "Stevens." "Sir, you need to move, now." Brad couldn't resist adding fuel. "Hey, security guys, you might want to check his pockets. He looks like the type who might have borrowed something from the coat check." The accusation hung in the air like poison gas. Several diners gasped audibly. Someone muttered, "I knew it." "Did he just suggest—" a woman whispered. "Shh, I'm recording," her companion hissed back. Jessica's phone captured everything. Her follower notifications were going insane. The stream was being shared across TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Hashtag security drama joined the trending hashtags. "Wait, did that guy just accuse him of stealing?" a voice called from table 8. "Keep filming," someone else shouted. Marcus's jaw tightened slightly, the first crack in his composure. "Are you accusing me of theft?" he asked Brad directly. "I'm not accusing anything," Brad said with mock innocence. "Just saying, fancy restaurants have expensive things lying around. Mistakes happen. Maybe you got confused about what belongs to who." The implication was crystal clear and viral. Emma reappeared with a clipboard, official-looking documents attached. "Mr. Carter, I've documented the incident per corporate policy. Timestamps, witness statements, the works." She'd spent 15 minutes building a paper trail to justify their actions, covering the restaurant's liability, making Marcus look like the aggressor in writing. Multiple witnesses confirmed the guest became belligerent when asked to respect our seating policy, Emma read from her notes. The guest refused to leave when politely asked. Guests made threatening gestures toward other customers. "Threatening gestures?" Marcus asked. "You stepped toward their table in an aggressive manner," Emma replied smoothly. David nodded approvingly. "Excellent. We'll file this with Chicago PD if necessary." Stevens reached for Marcus's arm. "Sir, we're leaving now. Don't make this difficult." Marcus stepped back calmly. "Before you do that, I'd like to show you something. He opened his leather portfolio. The cognac-colored calfskin caught the light. Expensive, but understated. Inside, white papers with official letterhead were visible. Brad laughed loudly. "What is that, your community college diploma? Your food stamps application?" The crowd chuckled. Jessica zoomed in with her camera. "Oh my God, he's got paperwork," she announced to her 9,200 viewers. "This keeps getting better. Sir, you know this isn't a library, right?" "Maybe it's his eviction notice," Brad continued, playing to his audience. "Or his bankruptcy filing. That would explain the desperation for a free meal." The insults kept coming, each one designed to humiliate, each one captured in a high definition and broadcast live to thousands. Marcus pulled out a single document. Heavy stock paper, embossed header, multiple signatures at the bottom. He placed it carefully on the nearest table. Table 6, where an elderly couple had been enjoying their anniversary dinner before the show started. "Rodriguez," Marcus said quietly, "could you please read the letterhead on that document?" The security guard glanced down reluctantly. His eyes scanned the top of the page. His expression shifted subtly. "Read it out loud," Marcus suggested, "so everyone can hear." Rodriguez's voice faltered slightly. MW Hospitality Group." "Louder, please." MW Hospitality Group. Board Resolution. Meridian Chicago Acquisition. Rodriguez's voice trailed off as understanding dawned. David snatched the paper, scanning it rapidly. Color drained from his face like water from a broken dam. "What's MW stand for, David?" Marcus asked conversationally. The restaurant fell silent except for the soft jazz playing from hidden speakers. Even Jessica's live stream comments paused as viewers sensed something shifting. David's hands trembled slightly as he held the document. The acquisition papers. Signed 3 weeks ago. Purchase price, $47 million. New owner, Marcus Washington, majority shareholder of MW Hospitality Group. "David?" Marcus prompted again. "MW means what, exactly?" Brad grew impatient. "What's the holdup? Throw this loser out already." Jessica aimed her camera at the document David was holding. "What's that paper supposed to prove? That he's got a good printer?" "Anyone can fake documents these days," Brad added dismissively. "I could print something like that in 5 minutes." Marcus reached into his portfolio again. This time he pulled out a second document, then a third, then a fourth. Each one is official. Each one is damning. Corporate tax documents showing MW Hospitality Group's annual revenue, $2.3 billion. Stock certificates proving Marcus Washington owned 78% of company shares. A business license listing him as CEO and primary owner. Insurance documents naming him as the policyholder for 847 restaurant locations across North America. "Marcus Washington," he said quietly. "MW. I believe that clears up any confusion about the letterhead." Rodriguez stepped back involuntarily. Stevens lost his aggressive posture entirely. Emma's clipboard clattered to the floor. But Marcus wasn't finished. "This document," he continued, lifting the acquisition papers, "shows I purchased Meridian Chicago 3 weeks ago for $47 million cash." He pulled out another paper. "This one shows I also acquired the entire Meridian Restaurant Group, 23 locations, total purchase price, $847 million. The numbers hit the room like physical blows, $847 million. Not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, nearly $1 billion. Jessica's live stream erupted. "Wait, what? Is this real? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." Plot twist of the century. Viewer count, 14,800 and climbing. Marcus looked directly at Brad, who was still sprawled across the VIP booth. "So when you say possession is 9/10 of the law, you're absolutely right. I possess this table. I possess this restaurant. I possess this building." Brad's smirk finally died. I possess the entire block. The silence stretched like a taut wire. 30 seconds of absolute quiet except for the jazz music, which suddenly seemed absurdly cheerful. Then Marcus delivered the final blow. Which brings us to an interesting question. His voice remained calm, almost conversational. What do you suppose happens when someone tries to steal a table from the person who owns everything they can see? Time, 9:04 p.m. The silence stretched across Meridian like ice cracking under pressure. Every face in the restaurant turned toward Marcus, waiting for his next move. Jessica's live stream viewer count hit 16,900. The comments section moved too fast to read. Brad shifted uncomfortably in the booth. For the first time tonight, his confidence wavered. Look, whatever game you're playing with fake papers... David, Marcus interrupted quietly. Would you please call your corporate office? Ask them who purchased this restaurant 3 weeks ago. David's face had gone gray. The acquisition papers in his hands felt suddenly heavy, like evidence at a crime scene. Mr. Washington, we had no idea. No idea about what? Marcus asked. That you are... The owner? Marcus finished. The person who signs your paychecks? The one who approved your salary increase last month? David's knees nearly buckled. The salary increase. The memo that came from corporate headquarters. The mysterious new owner they'd all heard whispers about but never met. MW Hospitality Group. Marcus Washington. It hit him like a freight train. Rodriguez slowly backed away from Marcus, hands raised apologetically. Sir, if we had known... If you had known what? Marcus's voice remained calm, but steel had entered his tone. If you had known I was wealthy, would you have treated me differently? Is that how service works here? Stevens stammered. No, sir, that's not... We treat all guests... The same way you treated me tonight? Marcus gestured toward the booth where Brad and Jessica sat frozen. By assuming I was a criminal? By threatening to arrest me for requesting my own table? Emma dropped her clipboard entirely. The sound of it hitting marble echoed through the silent restaurant like a gunshot. Jessica's phone trembled in her hands. Her live stream had exploded across social media. The comments were no longer mocking Marcus. They were questioning everything they'd just witnessed. Wait, is he actually the owner? Holy shit, this just got real. Did we just watch discrimination live? This is about to go viral for all the wrong reasons. Brad finally found his voice. Okay, look, if you really are who you say you are, then this is just a big misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Marcus pulled out his phone. The missed calls and texts were still flooding in. He scrolled through them deliberately, reading aloud. Congratulations on the Meridian acquisition, Mr. Washington. The board is excited about your vision for Chicago dining. Another text. MW Hospitality legal team standing by for any issues during transition period. Another. Sir, the mayor's office called about scheduling your restaurant opening ceremony. He looked up at Brad. Which part is the misunderstanding? The part where you called me street trash? Or the part where you ripped up my reservation for my own table? The color drained from Brad's face like someone had pulled a plug. Marcus continued reading. Financial Times wants to interview you about the $847 million Meridian Restaurant Group acquisition, scheduling for next week. $847 million. The number hung in the air like a physical presence. Jessica's viewer count was approaching 20,000. Someone had screen-recorded her entire stream and posted it to TikTok with the caption, Couple accidentally discriminates against billionaire restaurant owner. The TikTok already had 127,000 views and climbing. Marcus walked slowly toward the VIP booth. Brad and Jessica pressed themselves against the back of the banquette, as if trying to disappear into the leather. You asked me what I was going to do, Marcus said quietly. Call my lawyer? Well, I don't need to. My legal team is MW Hospitality Group's legal team. 17 attorneys on retainer. He pulled out another document from his portfolio. This is my personal net worth statement, required for the acquisition loan. Would you like me to read the number? No, Brad whispered. Marcus read it anyway. $2.7 billion in verified assets. The restaurant was so quiet you could hear the ice melting in abandoned cocktails. Here's what's going to happen, Marcus continued, his voice never rising above conversational level. You're going to stand up. You're going to walk out of my restaurant, and you're never coming back. Wait, Jessica said, her live stream still running. This is all being recorded. We can work this out? Yes, it is being recorded, Marcus agreed. By you, on your own social media, broadcasting your discrimination to 20,000 people and counting. He pulled out his own phone and opened it to a contact list. Names scrolled past. Chicago Tribune, CNN, NBC Chicago, Fox News. I have contacts at every major news outlet in Chicago. They'll be very interested in this story. Viral video of discrimination at high-end restaurant. It has everything they love. Social media, wealthy defendants, clear evidence. Brad's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. But here's what I'm going to do instead, Marcus said. I'm going to let your own video speak for itself. No press calls, no interviews, just your live stream, showing exactly who you are when you think no one important is watching. Jessica's hand shook as she held her phone. The live stream that was supposed to be entertainment had become evidence. Evidence that would follow them forever. Mr. Washington, David began desperately. Please, let me explain. David, you're suspended pending a full investigation. Emma, you're terminated immediately. Security. Marcus looked at Rodriguez and Stevens. You'll both complete bias training within 48 hours or find new employment. He turned back to Brad and Jessica. As for you two, you're banned from all 847 MW hospitality locations worldwide. Your names and photos will be distributed to every manager by tomorrow morning. Brad's mouth moved soundlessly. Jessica's live stream viewers were posting screenshots, sharing the moment across every social platform. Their faces were already becoming memes. Marcus reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his Black American Express Centurion card. The metal caught the light, unmistakably real, impossibly exclusive. This card requires $350,000 in annual spending just to qualify, he said conversationally. I use it to pay my weekly restaurant bills. He placed it on the table next to the acquisition papers. Now, Marcus said, looking directly at Brad, would you please remove yourself from my table? I have a dinner reservation to keep. The power in the room had shifted completely. The man they'd dismissed as nobody controlled everything they could see. The table they'd stolen belonged to him. The restaurant they'd claimed superiority in was his property. The security guards who'd been called to remove him now stood at attention, awaiting his orders. The manager who'd threatened to call the police was begging for mercy. The couple who'd humiliated him were cornered in his booth, facing consequences they never imagined possible. Jessica's live stream had documented their downfall in real time, broadcast to a growing audience that was sharing their disgrace across the internet. And Marcus Washington stood calmly in the center of it all, having revealed his power not through shouting or threats, but through simple, undeniable proof. The quiet billionaire had spoken, and everyone was listening. Marcus pulled out his phone and speed-dialed a number. The restaurant remained frozen as he waited for an answer. Sarah, it's Marcus. Yes, I know it's Friday night. We have a situation at Meridian, Chicago that requires immediate board attention. He put the call on the speaker. A woman's professional voice filled the silence. Good evening, Mr. Washington. This is Sarah Carter, MW Hospitality Group Chief Operating Officer. How can we assist? Every word carried corporate authority. David's face went white. Chen was a name he recognized from quarterly reports. His boss's boss's boss. Sarah, I'm standing in Meridian, Chicago, where I've just experienced discrimination from staff and customers. I need you to access our acquisition documents and employee protocols. Accessing now, sir. Our records show you purchased Meridian, Chicago on September 10th for $47 million cash. Full acquisition of the Meridian Restaurant Group completed September 15th for $847 million total. The numbers hit the room like physical blows. Jessica's live stream erupted with comments. $847 million. This man bought a whole restaurant chain. I can't even afford Chipotle. Brad tried one last desperate move. Look, Mr. Washington, sir, we didn't know. Stop. Marcus's voice cut through the air like a blade. Sarah, please pull up our company discrimination policy. Section 4, subsection C. Retrieved, sir. Section 4C states, any employee found guilty of discriminatory behavior toward customers based on race, appearance, or perceived economic status faces immediate termination without severance. Zero tolerance policy, effective company-wide. David's legs nearly gave out. No severance meant losing his $95,000 annual salary, his health benefits, his retirement contributions. Everything. And our customer behavior standards? Marcus continued. Section 12A. Customers engaging in discriminatory behavior toward other guests or staff will be permanently banned from all MW hospitality properties. Legal action may be pursued for harassment or defamation. Marcus looked directly at Brad and Jessica. Legal action. That's interesting phrasing. He scrolled through his phone to a law firm contact. James Morrison, Morrison & Associates. Corporate litigation specialists. They handle all MW hospitality legal matters. The mention of lawyers sent another wave of panic through the couple. Jessica's hand shook as she held her phone. Her live stream had hit 25,000 viewers. Someone in the comments posted, I found her Instagram. Jessica, Lifestyle Chicago. Let's see how this ages. Sarah, Marcus continued, please access tonight's security footage. Every MW property has 24/7 surveillance. Accessing Meridian Chicago cameras now, sir. Multiple angles available. High-definition recording from 8:45 p.m. Emma had gone pale. The security footage would show everything. Her refusing service, her stepping on Marcus's reservation, her building a false paper trail. I want that footage preserved as evidence, Marcus said, and I want a complete audit of tonight's staff behavior. Every employee who participated in or witnessed discrimination without reporting it. The kitchen staff who'd been watching through the service window suddenly found other places to be. Servers scattered. The busboys melted back into the shadows. Marcus pulled out another document from his portfolio, Corporate Policy Manual, MW Hospitality Group, 847 pages thick. Page 247, he read aloud. Employee Code of Conduct. All staff members are required to treat every guest with dignity and respect, regardless of appearance, dress, race, or perceived social status. Failure to comply results in immediate dismissal and potential legal liability. He looked at the remaining restaurant staff. How many of you witnessed what happened tonight and did nothing? Silence. Page 251. Witness Responsibility Clause. Employees who observe discriminatory behavior and fail to report or intervene may be held equally accountable. A server in the corner raised her hand tentatively. Mr. Washington, sir, I wanted to say something, but Emma is my supervisor. What's your name? Marcus asked. Maria Gonzalez, sir. Maria, you're promoted to interim front-of-house manager. Your first assignment is documenting tonight's incident for HR. Maria's eyes widened. From server to management in one moment of honesty. Marcus's phone buzzed with an incoming text. He glanced at it, then smiled slightly. Ah, the mayor's office. They've seen the live stream. Apparently, when you discriminate against someone on a viral video, it affects the city's reputation, too. He showed the text to the room. Mayor Lightfoot's office requested an immediate meeting Monday a.m. regarding restaurant industry discrimination protocols. Jessica's viewer count kept climbing, 28,000. The comments section had turned into a real-time investigation. Found Brad's LinkedIn. He works at Kemper Financial. Jessica's a lifestyle influencer with 50K followers. Screen recording everything for evidence. This is going to destroy their careers. Marcus dialed another number. This is Marcus Washington, MW Hospitality Group. I need you to draft a press release. Title: MW Hospitality Group addresses discrimination incident at Chicago location. He paused, looking around the room. Content: following a documented discrimination incident at our Meridian, Chicago location, MW Hospitality Group is implementing enhanced anti-bias training across all 847 properties. Zero-tolerance policies will be strictly enforced. We apologize to our guest who was mistreated and commit to ensuring this never happens again. The PR machine was already moving. Within hours, the story would be controlled, managed, and turned into a positive narrative about corporate responsibility. Sarah, Marcus spoke into his phone again. Connect me with our head of human resources. Connecting now, sir. Another voice joined the call. This is Jennifer Martinez, MW Hospitality HR Director. Mr. Washington, I've been monitoring the situation via security feed. We have protocols in place for exactly this scenario. Excellent. Jennifer, I want full employee files on David Carter and Emma Rodriguez. Background checks, performance reviews, any previous complaints. Accessing now, sir. David Carter, 8 years with the company. 2 previous customer complaints regarding attitude towards certain demographics. Emma Rodriguez, 3 years. 1 formal warning for inappropriate comments about guest appearance. The pattern was there. This wasn't isolated behavior. It was systemic prejudice that had been ignored. Brad finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. What do you want from us? Marcus considered the question. I want you to understand the consequences. Your live stream has been screen recorded and shared across social media. Your faces are now permanently associated with discrimination. Your employers will likely see this video. Your friends, your families, your colleagues, they'll all know exactly who you are. He pulled out his Centurion card again, holding it up to catch the light. This card gives me access to exclusive events, private clubs, and high-end restaurants across the globe. Places you'll never see. But more importantly, it represents something you clearly don't understand. That you never know who you're talking to. Jessica's phone captured every word. Her own evidence was convicting her. Sarah, Marcus continued, I want a comprehensive report on tonight's incident, full documentation, and I want new protocols implemented immediately. Understood, sir. What specific changes would you like? Marcus looked around Meridian's dining room. Every guest was watching. Every server was listening. Every moment was being recorded. First, mandatory bias training for all customer-facing staff. Monthly workshops, not annual. Second, customer feedback systems with direct lines to corporate for discrimination reports. Third, mystery shopper programs to test our equity standards. He paused, ensuring everyone heard the next part. Fourth, any location that fails our bias audits will be closed pending retraining. We'll sacrifice short-term profits for long-term integrity. The financial implications hit David like a sledgehammer. Closing locations meant lost revenue, unemployment for staff, and failed quarterly targets. His career in hospitality was over. Fifth, I want diversity consultants hired for each region. Sixth, customer service reviews are tied directly to bias metrics. Seventh, a hotline that bypasses local management and goes straight to the corporate. Each directive added another layer of accountability. The entire system was being rebuilt in real time. Jennifer, Marcus addressed the HR director, effective immediately, I want bias incident reports included in quarterly board presentations. Make discrimination prevention a key performance indicator. Understood, sir. We'll have new protocols distributed to all 847 locations by Monday morning. Marcus walked slowly toward the VIP booth where Brad and Jessica still sat, paralyzed by the enormity of their situation. You have 60 seconds to vacate my table, he said quietly. Security will escort you to the street. Your rideshare apps are probably already flagging you based on viral recognition. You might want to call a friend. He checked his watch. 55 seconds. Brad scrambled out of the booth like it was on fire. Jessica fumbled to end her live stream, but it was too late. The damage was already screenshot, recorded, and shared beyond recall. "Mr. Washington," David tried one final plea, "my family depends on this job. My mortgage, my children's school." "Your family will survive your poor judgment," Marcus replied. "The question is whether you'll learn from it. Report to corporate Monday morning for your termination interview. HR will explain your options." As Brad and Jessica hurried toward the exit, Marcus called after them. "Oh, and Jessica, you might want to delete your social media accounts. The internet has a very long memory." The couple disappeared into the Chicago night, their humiliation broadcast live to 31,000 viewers and saved forever in the digital cloud. Marcus finally sat down at his table. His table. In his restaurant. In his building. He opened the menu calmly as if nothing had happened. "I'll have the Wagyu beef," he told Maria, who approached nervously. "Medium rare, and a bottle of your 2015 Bordeaux." The quiet billionaire was ready for dinner. Time, 9:18 p.m. Monday morning, 8:47 a.m., MW Hospitality Group headquarters, downtown Chicago. David Carter sat in the sterile conference room, hands trembling as he faced the termination board. Jennifer Martinez, HR director, read from his file with clinical precision. 8 years of employment, 2 previous discrimination complaints. Friday night's incident represents a pattern of behavior inconsistent with company values. Across town, Emma Rodriguez cleaned out her apartment. The viral video had cost her everything. Job, apartment lease, landlord saw the footage, even her relationship. Her boyfriend's text was brutal. "Can't be with someone who treats people like that." The internet had spoken. Hashtag Meridian discrimination was trending nationally, but the real changes were happening systematically. Marcus stood in the Meridian Chicago dining room at 9:15 a.m., watching contractors install new equipment. Digital feedback stations at every table. QR codes linking directly to corporate discrimination reporting. Cameras with advanced audio recording capabilities. "Mr. Washington," Maria Gonzalez approached nervously. 3 days as interim manager had aged her visibly. "The new bias training consultant is here." Dr. Aisha Williams entered, Harvard PhD in social psychology, consultant for Fortune 500 companies. Her resume included transforming corporate cultures at Amazon, Apple, and Goldman Sachs. "Mr. Washington, I've reviewed Friday's footage. What happened here represents institutional failure, not individual prejudice." Marcus nodded. "Explain." "Your staff had no protocols for bias intervention, no training on recognizing discrimination, no safe reporting mechanisms. Emma and David weren't outliers. They were products of a system that never taught them better." She pulled out a tablet showing data analytics. "I've surveyed your 847 locations. 63% of managers admit to making appearance-based seating decisions. 47% report witnessing discrimination but staying silent." The numbers painted a picture Marcus couldn't ignore. Friday night wasn't an anomaly. It was inevitable. "What's your recommendation?" "Complete cultural overhaul. Not just training. Transformation." Within hours, Dr. Williams had teams deployed across MW Hospitality properties. Every location would undergo the same intensive reformation. Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Kemper Financial Services, downtown Chicago. Brad Thompson sat across from his CEO, Patricia Valdez. Between them lay printed screenshots from Jessica's live stream. 47 pages of evidence. "Our clients saw this," Patricia said coldly. "Fortune 500 companies, pension funds. They're asking if Kemper Financial employs people who discriminate based on race." Brad's mouth went dry. "Patricia, I was having drinks. It was a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" She slid another document across the table. "This is a formal complaint from the Illinois Department of Human Rights. They're investigating whether your public behavior reflects Kemper's internal practices." The complaint had teeth. State investigators would audit Kemper's hiring, promotion, and client service records, looking for patterns of discrimination. We're terminating your employment effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Brad's $187,000 salary vanished with 8 words. Across town, Jessica Martinez stared at her phone. Her Instagram followers had plummeted from 50,000 to 12,000 in 4 days. Brands were canceling sponsorship deals. Her lifestyle influencer career was over. But the real consequences were deeper. Her apartment building's management company had sent eviction papers. Creating public disturbances that reflect poorly on property reputation violated her lease agreement. Her parents in Phoenix wouldn't take her calls. Her college sorority sisters had removed her from group chats. The viral video had destroyed not just her career, but her entire social network. Wednesday, 10 o'clock a.m., Chicago City Hall. Mayor Lori Lightfoot faced a room full of restaurant industry leaders. The Meridian incident had sparked citywide conversations about discrimination in hospitality. We're implementing new municipal requirements, she announced. All restaurants with liquor licenses must complete annual bias training. Random compliance inspections will be conducted. Violations result in license suspension. The policy would affect 2,847 Chicago establishments. Marcus's viral moment had created legislative change. Thursday, 6:00 p.m., Meridian, Chicago reopening. The restaurant looked identical, but felt completely transformed. Dr. Williams had spent 3 days retraining every employee. New protocols were posted visibly. Dignity first policy. Every guest receives identical service regardless of appearance, dress, race, or perceived status. Discrimination reports go directly to ownership. Witnesses have a duty to intervene. Marcus watched the evening service from table 7, his table. Maria moved confidently as head manager, implementing the new systems. Servers approached every guest with identical energy. Kitchen staff had been trained on respectful customer interaction. The feedback stations buzzed with activity. Guests could rate their experience on bias-free service with anonymous direct lines to corporate. A young black couple entered, dressed casually in jeans and sneakers. The host smiled genuinely, checking them in without judgment. They were seated at a prime window table. Marcus smiled. Progress. Friday evening, exactly 1 week later. Jessica's viral live stream had been viewed 2.3 million times across platforms. Screen recordings existed on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Her face was permanently associated with discrimination. But something unexpected had emerged from the digital wreckage. Comment sections filled with similar stories. Thousands of people sharing their own experiences with restaurant discrimination. The video had sparked national conversations about bias in service industries. CNN featured the story, "Viral Video Leads to Hospitality Industry Reform." The Today Show interviewed Dr. Williams about unconscious bias in customer service. Harvard Business School added the incident to their ethics curriculum. Marcus's phone buzzed constantly with interview requests, speaking opportunities, consulting offers. His quiet response to discrimination had become a case study in corporate leadership. But he declined most requests. The real work was happening in his restaurants. Saturday morning. MW Hospitality Group Quarterly Review. Sarah Carter presented transformation data to the board. Discrimination complaints are down 94% across all properties. Customer satisfaction up 37%. Employee retention increased 41%. The numbers told the story. Treating people with dignity wasn't just morally right, it was profitable. Mystery shopper audits show dramatic improvement, Sarah continued. Bias incidents decreased from 47% to 3% of tested interactions. Marcus had proven something revolutionary. Calling out discrimination and implementing systematic change could transform entire industries. 6 months later. David Carter worked as a night manager at a small diner in suburban Milwaukee. The demotion hurt, but he'd completed bias training voluntarily, slowly rebuilding his reputation. Emma Rodriguez had moved to Portland, working retail while taking community college courses in social work. The viral shame had forced deep self-reflection. Brad Thompson struggled with unemployment. His LinkedIn showed 6 months of rejection letters. The viral video appeared in every background check. Jessica Martinez had started a nonprofit focused on digital literacy and social media responsibility, using her own viral destruction to teach others about online consequences. But the real legacy was institutional. MW Hospitality Group's Dignity First protocol had been adopted by 127 other restaurant chains. State laws requiring bias training passed in Illinois, California, and New York. Dr. Williams had built a consulting empire, transforming corporate cultures nationwide. Marcus Washington remained quiet about his role. No book deals, no speaking tours, just systematic change implemented through economic leverage and moral clarity. The man who'd been called street trash had revolutionized an industry, one viral video at a time. Present day. Meridian, Chicago, Table 7. Marcus finished his weekly dinner reviewing reports on his tablet. Discrimination complaints across all MW properties, 0 this month. Customer satisfaction scores, all-time highs. Employee morale surveys, unprecedented positivity. He paid his bill and left a generous tip for Maria, who'd transformed from nervous server to confident leader. Walking toward the exit, Marcus paused at the memorial plaque Dr. Williams had insisted on installing. Dignity first, in memory of every person who was judged by appearance rather than character, in commitment to ensuring it never happens again. The quiet billionaire stepped into the Chicago night, having proved that real power lies not in wealth or status, but in using privilege to create justice. The revolution had been live-streamed, and everyone was watching. 2 years later, Marcus Washington received a letter. The envelope bore no return address, just careful handwriting that seemed familiar. Inside, a single page from Emma Rodriguez. Mr. Washington, I graduated from social work school yesterday. I work with hospitality workers now, teaching bias awareness. I'll spend my life making sure what I did to you never happens to anyone else. Thank you for showing me that consequences can become catalysts for change. Marcus set the letter aside, smiling quietly. Redemption was possible, even for those who'd fallen furthest. His phone buzzed with the quarterly report. MW Hospitality Group had just been named Most Inclusive Restaurant Chain by the National Restaurant Association. 2 years of systematic change had created industry leadership, but the real victory was simpler. Last week, a homeless veteran had entered Meridian, Chicago, hoping to use the restroom. Instead of being turned away, Maria seated him at table 12, offered him a free meal, and connected him with social services. The man cried, saying it was the first time anyone had treated him with dignity in months. That moment, captured by security cameras but never publicized, represented everything Marcus had fought for. Dignity without conditions, respect without prerequisites. The ripple effects continued expanding. Harvard Business School now taught the Meridian model as required curriculum. Dr. Williams had consulted for 847 companies beyond restaurants. The Dignity First protocol existed in hotels, retail stores, banks, and hospitals across America. 3 states had passed Marcus Washington laws requiring bias training in customer service industries. Discrimination complaints in hospitality dropped 73% nationwide. But perhaps most importantly, a generation of young workers had learned that treating everyone with respect wasn't just moral, it was profitable. Marcus thought about that Friday night 2 years ago, being called street trash, watching his reservation torn apart, standing surrounded by people who judged him unworthy. He could have walked away, filed lawsuits, used his wealth to destroy their careers more completely. Instead, he'd chosen systematic change over personal revenge. Education over humiliation. Building bridges instead of burning them down. The quiet billionaire had learned something powerful. True revolution happens not through anger or violence, but through persistent, principled action. through using privilege to lift others up rather than tear opponents down. Jessica's viral live stream, intended to mock him, had become a teaching tool viewed by millions. Her moment of cruelty had created decades of compassion. Brad's discrimination had sparked laws protecting countless future customers. Emma's bias had led to her becoming an advocate for respect and dignity. David's termination had opened space for Maria's leadership. Even destruction could become construction if channeled correctly. Marcus Washington had proven that sometimes the most powerful response to hate is not hate in return, but the patient work of building a better world. Share your story. What moment made you realize the power of quiet dignity over loud anger? Comment below. How can we create more accountability for discrimination in public spaces? Tag someone who shows strength through grace under pressure. Subscribe to Black Tales Stories for more narratives of resilience, justice, and the transformative power of principled leadership. Remember, you never know who you're talking to, but more importantly, it shouldn't matter. Everyone deserves dignity. Every person, every time, no exceptions.